let's take a look at question 20 from homework 7. This one is a first and second derivative question. So let's get right to it because we know how to take the first derivative. So let's go ahead and do that. They're giving us g of t equals t squared over t minus 1. Okay? I've got functions and I've got one in the denominator, one in the numerator. I'm going to have to use the product rule. If you're shaky on the product rule, go back and look at the videos on the product rule from homework 6. So g prime of t is going to be the bottom, so t minus 1, times the derivative of the top, which is 2t. I just copied the bottom, took the derivative of the top, minus the top, which is t squared, times the derivative of the bottom. The derivative of t minus 1 is 1, and I put all of that over the bottom squared, so that's going to give me t minus 1 squared. Okay? That, before, I would have told you, stop, you've got the answer, plug that into WebAssign, and you're going to get the right answer. You can plug this into WebAssign, you will get the right answer, but you've got to take another derivative, and you don't want to do it from this. So let's make this a little bit cleaner. Let's see how much we can simplify it. I'm going to distribute this 2t. That's going to give me 2t squared minus 2t minus t squared, and that's over t minus 1 squared. Okay? I can simplify that even further because I have two t squared terms. So that's going to give me t squared minus 2t over t minus 1 squared. Okay, you've got a choice now. Yeah, this is pretty simplified. Your choice is you can do the product rule or you can do the quotient rule. It's in a quotient form right now, so if you want to do the quotient rule, you can. I'd prefer to do the product rule. I feel like that's fewer steps. I got less stuff bouncing around. I'm not going up and down and subtracting and dividing, so I'm going to do the product rule. So I'm actually going to rewrite this one more time. It's going to be t squared minus 2t times t minus 1 to the negative 2. I just brought that up to the top, and now I can do the product rule. I have to use a chain rule, but because this is the last step, I don't have to simplify. I feel like I'd rather do it this way. You can use the product rule on this if you want to. My choice is to go with the, or you can use the quotient rule on this if you want to. My choice is to go with the product rule. So that was g prime of t. Now we need g double prime of t. Okay. Product rule says the first function times the derivative of the second function. I'm going to bring down the exponent, copy exactly what's inside the parentheses, lower the exponent by 1, and multiply times the derivative of what's on the inside. That gives me that. And then plus, I'll have to write this on the other line. This isn't a fraction, I'm just kind of carrying over. I'll rewrite it neatly in a second. Plus the second function, so that's t minus 1 to the negative 2 times the derivative of the first function. That's going to be 2t minus 2. Okay, so let me write that neatly. G prime of t, that equals t squared minus 2t times negative 2 times t minus 1 to the negative 3 times 1. I don't even have to include that if I don't want to, plus t minus 1 to the negative 2 times 2t minus 2. Plug that in, and since you're not taking another derivative, you don't have to worry about simplifying. Just plug that answer in as is, and you will have the correct answer. The tricky part is simplifying to something that you can do either the product rule or the quotient rule on. In this case, you're allowed to do either one of them. It just makes sense to simplify the answer that you get so that you have either a quotient or a product to use your derivative rules on. And that is number 20.